Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch, where today we're going to check in on price trends for Throne of Eldraine cards as we move into the release weekend. We'll be looking at the top 10 cards that have gained value and the top 10 that have lost value over the course of the week. Just a quick reminder before we get started, FlipsideGaming.com did restock on Throne of Eldraine products. They now have Brawl decks available, as well as collector booster boxes, regular draft booster boxes, and more. If you use the Heroes promo code, you can save some money and support the channel at the same time, which is always appreciated. But without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin with the top 10 Throne of Eldraine cards that lost value this week. In today's video, we're going to be looking at regular versions of cards that can be found in draft boosters, showcase cards and other variations, as well as cards from Brawl decks and Planeswalker decks. They're still very unstable right now, and the market is still digesting availability. Number 10 is Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig, down $1.28 to 99 cents. This one hasn't seen a whole lot of early standard play. Sometimes, every once in a while, you do see it show up in a mono green Stompy deck, but right now that's about it. Number 9 is Garrett Cursed Huntsman, down $1.40 to $12.78. Not too surprising to see a Planeswalker going down in value prior to the release of the set. There is a big exception to that in this set, though, which we're going to talk about later. But for this one, Planeswalkers tend to be very highly priced during the pre-release season because they appeal to a wide variety of players. Sure, some of them will be standard viable. This one will be. We'll talk about that in just a second. But also, you're going to have a lot of casual players, a lot of people that like to collect Planeswalkers, throw them in Oathbreaker decks, throw them in Commander decks. As you can see, there's a wide spectrum of folks that might want a card like this. When it comes to standard players, though, this card is something that people have been paying attention to. It's been showing up in Jeskai Fires of Invention Super Friends decks, 4-color Wolves, Golgari Stompy, Golgari Knights. Pretty safe to say at least one of those decks will be a contender next season. Number 8 is Once Upon a Time. This goes down $1.61 to $12.96. This is another card that had a lot of hype during the pre-release time because it is a very solid card. Now, it is a rare, not a mythic, and it does have a high price point because of the hype, and that's why it's softening up a little bit. Doesn't mean it's not going to see play. When it comes to standard, this thing is already showing up in deck lists for ramp builds, Golgari Midrange, Jund Adventures, Simic Food, Simic Flash, 4-color Wolves, Simic Feasting Troll King, Bant Lands, and more. So I do expect to see this getting a lot of standard play, and it's already starting to break into Modern too. I have no doubt it's going to see play there in the future. Number 7 is Harmonious Archon, down $1.65 to $1.99. Pretty cheap at this point for a mythic rare, but I have not really seen any brews with this in standards yet. However, Commander players might be interested if you're trying to play a go-wide deck with a lot of tokens. Maybe that's Selesnya colors, maybe it's White Weenie. This could be a good card for that kind of strategy. Number 6, the Magic Mirror, goes down $1.68 to $3.75. Another pretty inexpensive mythic rare here. Again, you don't see a lot of standard players showing a lot of interest in this card early on, but much like the previous card, this could be good in some Commander builds. Questing Beast comes in at number 5, down $1.70 to $18.24. Now, this has a very high price point. Again, a lot of hype around this card during the pre-release time, and it is a mythic. I do think it's going to keep a lot of this value, but again, as packs are getting open this weekend, I would expect it to be a little bit softer. Now, when it comes to standard play, this has been in a lot of early builds, ramp builds, Stompy builds, Golgari Midrange, Simic Food, and more. This has even started to work its way into Modern and Legacy a little bit. We'll have to kind of see if it's viable there, but something to pay attention to for sure. Number 4, the Royal Scions, goes down $1.71 to $12.83, so another Planeswalker here losing value, very similar to Garrick, which we talked about earlier. And this is seeing a little bit of interest among standard players. I've seen this in Is It Phoenix builds. Also a tad bit of Legacy interest too. So, granted, not as much interest when it comes to the competitive formats as Questing Beast, but enough to pay attention to. Number 3, Fae of Wishes, goes down $1.83 to $2.64. This one's a rare, not a mythic, so you would expect it to be softer considering its price point. And this could see play next season in standard, already in decks like the Jeskai Fires of Invention Super Friends deck and Simic Feasting Troll King. Number 2 is Brazen Borrower, going down $3.16 to $15.49. Another card that had a lot of excitement around it early on because it's just raw power, basically, and it's a mythic. So it does have a high price point. Because of that, it is softening up a little bit as we go into release weekend. But another card that is seeing a fair amount of play in the early standard. Simic Ramp, Simic Flash, Is It Phoenix, and more are running this. Even though this is not a Merfolk, I have seen this in some modern Merfolk lists and other modern builds, including Flyers decks, Grixis Control, and Is It Kiki Jiki. I do think this is going to see a fair amount of Modern play in the future. Number 1 is Robber of the Rich, down 329 to 725. This is an interesting one because it's not showing up in a lot of decks in Standard right now, but it is showing up in the Rakdos aggro deck, which at this point is maybe one of the favorites. Definitely a lot of people interested in that deck, and there's a lot of positive buzz around it. So this, being a mythic rare that typically shows up as a 4 of in that deck, you are going to see this price point maybe stabilize quickly and perhaps start to go up if that deck truly is as good as people think it could be. So right now, maybe you might be able to get a deal on this card. Another one you want to stay really close to in the market and kind of see how it does perform. Okay, on to the top 10 Throne of Eldraine cards that are gaining value this week. Now, you're going to see the gains a lot more conservative than the losses just because, again, we're looking at a situation where a lot of cards are going to be entering the marketplace. So number 10 is Lonesome Unicorn. This is up 10 cents to 85 cents. This probably could have been almost any card, just kind of normal price adjustment here. Not a lot to say about it. It's a common, not showing up in any standard builds or anything like that. Number 9 is Shepherd of the Flock. This one goes up 26 cents to 96 cents, and it is an uncommon. I would expect this to flatten out pretty quickly and start to go down in value. However, it is seeing a little bit of early standard play in Selesnya adventure decks. Number 8 is Dance of the Manse, up 28 cents to $1.56. This time you have a rare going up in value a little bit. And this is seeing a little early standard play. There's Esper Stax decks, which are basically like a really strong control deck that are trying to get artifacts into the graveyard to exploit this. I actually played against that deck in Arena, and I don't know, it seemed a little unstable to me, but it does have some potential, maybe with some tweaking. And another group of players that might be interested in this card would be your Commander players that would like to play with this in an artifact-centric build. Number 7 is Wicked Wolf, another rare going up, this time 32 cents to $1.36, and another card that is seeing play in a lot of these early standard brews. Ramp Build, Simic Food, 4-color Wolf, Simic Feasting Troll King, and Bant Hero. Number 6 is Fabled Passage, up 43 cents to $9.99, another rare increasing in value here. And this is just going to be a standard staple. It's already showing up in numerous builds. Almost any deck I look at the land part of the list, and this is there. So this is going to be a card you see a lot of this standard season, no doubt. Number 5 is Animating Fairy, going up 47 cents to 95 cents. This one's an uncommon. That's a pretty big jump for an uncommon. And remember, there is a copy of this in the Fairy Schemes Brawl deck too, so there will be additional copies out there. I would expect this to stabilize very quickly. It isn't seeing a whole lot of early standard play or anything like that, but it has been showing up in some Fairy Commander builds. Number 4 is Flaxen Intruder, up 47 cents to 95 cents. Another uncommon jumping up a little bit here. Some of this is just price stabilization early on. People are trying to figure out price points. Again, these uncommons I do think are going to lose a lot of value this week. Now, this particular one, though, has a home in Commander Bears decks, which have been popular recently. Number 3, Oakham Ranger, another uncommon, this time going up 52 cents to $1, and I don't think this price is going to stick. Not seeing a whole lot of early standard play either, but Commander Go Wide token builds, they could be interested in this, though. Number 2 is Realm Cloaked Giant, up 77 cents to $4.89. Here's a mythic going up in value because it actually had a pretty low price point during the pre-release time, and I do think it was undervalued a little bit. The creature portion is nothing too impressive, but that board sweep is actually pretty awesome. 2 white and 3 to play Cast Off, Adventure, Sorcery, destroy all non-giant creatures. There could be some standard decks that want this over, or in some cases in conjunction to Haya's Wrath. So far it's already showing up in Esper Stacks, Giants, and Bant lands. Number 1, Oko Thief of Crowns, going up $9.45 this week to $38.75 right now. Okay, that's a very high price point. I don't think it's going to maintain that type of price. As a matter of fact, in the last 24 hours or so, it has come down more than $1, so I do think you're going to see some normalization. However, there's a lot of hype around this card. It is performing very well in early standard, showing up in a lot of different builds. Ramp Build, Simic Food, 4-color Wolf, Simic Feasting Troll King, Bant Hero, and more. Also, some early modern play too. This has shown up in some of the Urza Thopter Sword decks, which of course are very popular, and some 4-color Copycat decks, so this is one to keep an eye on. We'll have to kind of see how much reach it actually has once we get the standard season going. However, this card does have a lot of potential. 3 casting cost Planeswalker here that quickly goes up to 6 loyalty. Very difficult to deal with, especially considering the colors here. You could ramp into this, potentially get this out in turn 2. Feels kind of crazy, actually. It has a ton of versatility. Now, outside of standard and modern, yes, again, Oathbreaker players, Commander players, they're going to want copies of this thing too. I expect this to remain one of the more expensive cards in the set throughout the season. Okay, that wraps up our look at Throne of Eldraine. Now, if you're curious as to what's going on in the rest of the market when it comes to Magic the Gathering prices, check out our Saturday video, which we do every Saturday actually, the regular edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. We're going to look at everything else this week. So until then, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.